Equation of a line, you guys. Which of the following are actually equations of lines? Actually, who could tell me which one of these is not like the others? Which one is actually not an equation? Carlos? No. That is a line. Yeah, Bree. Very good. So you guys, this one right here is not a line because it's a parabola. And how do we know it's a parabola? Because we have x squared. So if the degree is a 2, so if the highest exponent is a 2, that means you have a parabola. Okay, if I solve for y, do we have a slope and a y-intercept here? This is a line. If we solve for y here, do we have a slope and a y-intercept? This is a line. And Carlos, this line looks like this. Okay, horizontal, y graphs, it is a line. Okay, so all of those are lines except for the x squared one, which is a parabola. Okay, if you guys could just sketch this. Lovely graph does not have to be perfect. Just draw a line that looks somewhat like that with the same sort of slope here. All right, so by looking at this line, what kind of things can we find by looking at the picture of the line? We can find the slope. Good. So let's start with finding the slope of the line. So when you do slope, you actually want to find 2 points, like these 2 points, where it crosses exactly in the grid, okay? And I'm going to draw a right triangle. So we go straight down and then straight over to the point. And so for this slope, I'm actually going down 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to put a -4 because I went down. And then I'm going right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's positive when you go to the right, okay? So -4, +6. This becomes -2/3 after we reduce, okay? -2/3 would be the slope. How else can I tell that the slope is negative besides the fact that I did negative positive here? Julie? Exactly. Okay, if we have a skier man and he's going downhill, okay, that would be a negative slope. If I have a slope that goes this way and he's going uphill, that would be positive slope. Okay? What else can we figure out by looking at the line? Bree. The y-intercept. All right? The y-intercept. Now, when you guys do y-intercepts, I want them written as coordinate points. So can anyone tell me what coordinate point this is right here where it crosses the y-axis? Actual coordinate point, and x comma y. Anyone? Gentlemen. 0, 2. Good. Okay. And we can also find the x-intercept by looking at this graph. So the x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis, which is right here. And again, I want a coordinate point. What coordinate point is this? Claire. 3, 0. Okay, awesome. So y-intercepts are always when x is 0, and x-intercepts are always when y is 0. Side note for you guys. And the last thing that we can do is write the equation of the line. So y equals mx plus b, right? Slope and y-intercept. What do I plug in for m? -2/3. What do I plug in for b? +2. So there's the equation of the line. Okay. All right. Write the equation of the line, the slope, the x-intercept, the y-intercept for lines A, B, and C. So if you guys could draw, just sketch line A. So we're going to start with line A, which is this line that cuts through the x-axis right here. So sketch that line. And we're actually not going to do C. I'm going to just get rid of C because I don't want to do C. We're going to do it on the next one. Don't you worry. All right, so we'll start with A. So line A. First thing we want to find is the equation of the line. So all these lines that go vertical, right here, cut through the y or the x-axis. If they cut through the x-axis, they are x graphs. So does anyone know the equation of this line? Carlos? Yeah, you want to put x equals -3. So x graphs always cut through the x-axis wherever it is, -3. Okay, so write that down, equation of the line. All right, now we also need to find the slope. This is really important. So many people forget this. Anyone know the slope of this vertical line? Remember that from Algebra 1. Anyone? It is not 0. This one is 0. It's not 1. It's not 2. Nope, there's a special word. Special word. You can't walk up a wall. So the slope of this, wow. The slope of this line is undefined. Undefined. Yep, can't walk up a wall. All right.
B be undefined?
Nope, B is actually a slope of 0. Okay, there's no tilt to this one. It's 0. So you want to memorize, you just kind of have to memorize, any vertical line is undefined. Okay? Now, we also need to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So the x-intercept, where does it cross the x-axis? And we want a coordinate point. Edward, what coordinate point is this? -3, 0. We want to write it as coordinate point, right? X comma y. All right, and then we have the y-intercept. Does line A ever cross the y-axis? No. So you have to write down none. Okay? Now we have line B. So we're going to do the same 4 things. We're going to start with the equation of the line. Line B is cutting through the y-axis. So it is a y graph. So Lorena, what's the equation of the line? Very good. Y equals -7. Awesome. Okay, and the slope of this line, any horizontal line, has a slope of 0. Okay, you just want to memorize it. Again, the way I remember is you can't walk up a wall, and this one has no tilt, so it's 0. Okay, and then we have the x-intercept and the y-intercept. For the x-intercept, does this line cross the x-axis? No. So for the x-intercept, we put none. For the y-intercept, it crosses the y-axis right here. I want the coordinate point. So Tessa, what coordinate point is this? Good. 0, -7. Okay. All right, go ahead and write down the equation and draw a grid here. We are going to find the equation of the line. We're going to graph the line. Then we're going to find the slope, and then we're going to find the y-intercept, and then we're going to find the x-intercept. Okay, let's do this. So we've got 2x plus 3y equals 3. The first thing we need to do is solve for y. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. It's like the Home Depot commercial, you know. Let's do this. I like those. Okay. Anyways, so I moved the -2x over, right? I have -2x plus 3. And some of you guys are not doing this right, so pay attention. There are a few of you guys who are only dividing that by 3. When you guys divide by 3, you need to divide everything by 3. So now I get y equals -2/3 x plus 1. Okay, so I solve for y. Now we're going to go ahead and graph the line. So Lucas, what do I graph first? Good, +1 here. Okay, my slope is -2/3. So -2 meaning down 2, +3 meaning right 3, and down 2, right 3, down 2, right 3. Our line. Okay. All right, so we have our line. Now we need to find all that really fun stuff. We already know the slope and y-intercept because we have y equals mx plus b, right? So the slope, Emma, is what? -2/3, right? We just did that, so that's easy. The y-intercept, we also know by looking at that equation, except I want it written as a coordinate point. So Alyssa, what's the y-intercept as a coordinate point? 0, 1. Okay? And now this is hard, and you should pay attention if you were zoning out before, because this is different. X-intercept is when y is 0. All right? So it's something 0. If you look at the graph, I can't exactly tell. Like, maybe it's 2, but maybe it's like right here. I'm not exactly sure. And so we have to do it by plugging it into the equation. So when you find the x-intercept, that's always when y is 0. You could do that in this equation, but it's actually much easier if you go back to the original equation because you can pretty much do it in your head. So plug in 0 for y. What happens to this whole piece right here if I plug in 0? It's 0, so it goes away. So I have 2x equals 3, and then we can just divide both sides by 2, and so I get 3 halves. So my y, or my x-intercept is actually like 1.5, or 3 halves. You can leave it as a fraction, or you can write 1.5. I would not have known that by the picture. I had to do it by plugging 0 in for y. So you can always use that as a way to find the x-intercept. In fact, you should write this in your notes. Plug 0 in for y. You can also find the y-intercept by plugging 0 in for x. So they're opposites, okay? All right.